What's this? A video on recent lore? Yes it is. By some miracle, the game has updated and we've been blessed with some scraps of lore here and there, alongside a new lore-heavy book with ties to both a recent legendary weapon and a new quest line. Regardless, this gives us some more lore to analyze alongside a hefty piece of writing written by the lead developer, Archmage himself. Yes, I'm aware this is a long video, but trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be left with a story that'll be impossible to forget. Remember to subscribe and like the video, it helps this channel grow exponentially, something that I have been noticing. Thank you to everyone supporting me thus far and those that will after watching. I appreciate it endlessly. With that out of the way, let's get into the recent reintroduction of lore into Deepwoken. So, if you want my honest opinion, this recent update has been a massive leap in the right direction in terms of lore being added to the game. I can't think of the last time where a recent update added well thought out lore like this, so this is very much appreciated on my end. Anyhow, the book and lore I mentioned earlier are actually part of a new quest that involves a secretive, ultra-rare weapon that was added last update, named the Dormant Splinter. In essence, the Splinter was introduced to the game as a very rare boss drop that is so unbelievably rare that Archmage specifically stated that you should not grind for it. When people grinded for it anyways, obviously, they discovered that it was the worst weapon in the game. Classic Deepwoken. It turns out that the Dormant Splinter is, well, dormant, and there's a process to awakening it into an actually usable weapon. That is what the community is currently attempting to solve as I'm writing this video, and I was contemplating throwing my hat in the ring, but let's be honest, that's not my area of expertise. What is within my area of expertise, however, is the new lore content that has been added as stepping stones within this seemingly unsolvable quest. Now, I haven't been paying a lot of attention to this hunt, so apologies if I get some things wrong, but part of awakening the Splinter was revealed to be located in the depths, which led hunters to an enemy event wherein you do battle with a man wielding Frostdraw and Bloodrend. This man's name is Coldheart Fortinbras, and he wields the Hailbreaker, which is a legendary weapon that wields Frostdraw to destructive ends. Fortinbras' link to the Hailbreaker becomes obvious if you acquire the weapon for yourself and lay eyes on its description. The description says that the mechanists of the Citadel changed their approach to equipment production and work closely with authority weaponsmiths to design a cold-hearted blade capable of piercing through monster hide and freezing their innards solid. Hence, it becomes clear that Fortinbras is, or was, a Black Diver scientist who likely contributed to the creation of the Hailbreaker. But what's so special about Fortinbras? Well, if the player approaches him with a splinter in hand, he will react like this. Clearly, Fortinbras has some connection with the Dormant Splinter, desiring it for himself or for her. We'll circle back to who her is later in the video. Once Fortinbras' underground laboratory, the Cold Forge, was discovered to be sealed away in an underground passage in the depths. Well, I was gonna, say what happened after that, but there's really nothing else. That's as far as we've gotten, unfortunately. But, as you can probably tell by the length of the video, we're only just beginning, because you can find a book within the Cold Forge itself. This book, Coldheart's Journal, is both lengthy and harrowing. Buckle up and grab your popcorn. We've got no time to waste. Blasted thing. Not cold enough. I can still feel it. That fetid warmth that calls forth sweat to bead at the small of my back. Never was warm enough for her. Always needed more coats. Coats and hats and scarves. Put on another layer, she'd say. Throw a log on the fire, she'd say. Blasted woman. Now it's not cold enough. What does that say? Her mind is fickle, wavering, unfocused. Make up your mind. And when you do, reveal it to me plainly. The thermal transfer isn't good enough. I'm sure the castle won't miss a few things. I've nipped out to grab some parts. Thought Umbrite might do this time? Won't be long. Bitter words. Harsh voices. They don't get it. They never understood her, or me, or us, or my work. No one does. She certainly didn't. And now look where she is. Turns out all I had to do was stop asking and start doing. Give it a bit of time. They'll regret this. They'll realize I'm a hero. They're too busy polishing the boots of that hag. They need a reality check. Deirdre, please. How many times must I say that I'm sorry? You never listen to me anymore. But then I don't listen to you either, do I? Show me a sign. Make your wishes known. I'm doing all I can. How was I to know? I followed the principles. I spoke to the turncoat witch. I couldn't just as well walk up to a prophet now, could I? He did a lot in getting me that recommendation, but you never liked those swords, did you? But that witch didn't get it either. Not that she would. Liars sink furthest. Their souls are heavier, burdened by all the lies they're keeping up. So when they drown, she told me enough. There's much she doesn't understand about this art. There are many metals within the human body, within blood, too. You're finally cold enough, but that's not enough, is it? You're selfish. I gave you new form, I made you every blade you asked for, they weren't good enough. If you wanted something particular, you should have asked for it. You're not listening to me. You're asking for the impossible. You can't breathe life into a weapon. You've lost the plot. The boot shiner's got a shipment. I saw it when I was prying the spare screws out the bed frames. Life-woven blades. I told you about them, remember? But they're not good enough, are they? They don't breathe, do they? You don't breathe either, I suppose, but you're still alive in there, under all that mess. You've been helping me all along. You'd be happier this way. Just give it some time, they wouldn't lie to me. Not him, at least. Maybe to the others, but not to me. Never to me. He always looked after us. We wouldn't have met if it weren't for him. You wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for his advice. He's still down there, Dee. They keep sending scouts, he's still down there. How do we get him out? We owe him so much. They say he lost his mind, but maybe he's just found it. What he was looking for. That city. I hope so. He was good to us. He'll know what to do. How is it that I've learnt so much, but progressed so little? Word is traveling just as the witch did. This filthy laborers found something. Ironsing. They found it. I don't know how. Maybe someone dredged something up from here. But it won't do. What they found won't do what you're asking for. You keep asking for it. No matter how many blades I present you, it's never enough. It was never enough. Was never enough? How can I apologize to you if you never hear me? It's not my fault you don't have ears or a mouth or eyes. I miss when we could just talk. Wasn't that enough? Now it's all about which elements to use, which blades to work, how to breathe true life, a soul you keep saying into a blade. It can't be done, not here. We drown too readily. Pry a soul free of its vessel and it drops like a stone. Maybe in the old world they did it. Maybe out there in all those ruins, but no, everything's gone. It all came down here. The city, Celtor, the whole lot of it. Nothing remains. The service has nothing for me, and it never did. It's clear to me you don't need my talents anymore. You never did. Always so special. So special. To me, mind, and in a good way. You never flouted it. I loved buying you that coat you always wore. You lit up. But this is goodbye, Deirdre. I'm taking the oars. You can keep the blades, okay, and my notes. Maybe you'll take up the pen and start actually telling people something for once. Sorry, I know you can't help it. You don't have hands after all. I'll find a weapon for you, but it won't be the one you keep asking for. But I need to be honest. It can't be done. I know you looked up to her, Sideriska. But what she did while she still drew breath. I have done what I can, but you aren't a weapon, Deirdre. You make weapons, you can't be her. It's too late for that. Give up your dream. You're not coming back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Oh gods, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to put you in here. I didn't mean to make you like this. What's up? You won't talk. You know where to find me when you change your mind. Do you hate me? I can't bear to look at you like this. I miss you. I can't turn you back. I put you in there, but I can't bring you back. You are a person, not a blasted tool. And now you're all metal and pipes, and I said I would. I know I did. But I'm so sorry. I said I'd stop coming back, but were you ever in this forge? It's been so long. I'm so sorry. I miss you so much. Alright, that was a lot to take in, and I don't blame you if you don't understand, because I certainly didn't at first glance. This text becomes especially confusing when you reread it, because I'm sure you'll also notice the multiple instances of Fortinbras being told something by his wife, while also stating that she can't speak. I'll save you the headache and break it down for you. Coldheart Fortinbras and his wife Daedra were black diver weaponsmiths and scientists who most likely assisted in the creation of the Hailbreaker, as Fortinbras' wife Daedra was gripped by an obsession with Grand Sudoriska, the talking Frostdraw great axe with Sudoriska's soul inside. The pair attempted to conduct some experiment wherein they would transfer a soul into a weapon to replicate Sudoriska. The details of the experiment are unknown but also irrelevant, as regardless of the intricacies, it failed. Daedra's physical form was destroyed, and Fortinbras, assuming that his wife had gone on to possess the machinery in their cold forge, attempted to create a weapon that could harness her soul. As Daedra, before her physical death, believed that Sudoriska's soul survived due to the freezing conditions of the blade, Fortinbras attempted endlessly to create a blade cold enough to hold her soul, and free it from the machinery of the forge. The turncoat witch Fortinbras speaks of is Verelda, the bloodrending trainer who I've discussed in my previous video on bloodrending. Verelda, despite her knowledge on bloodrending and her clearly teaching Fortinbras the attunement, as he uses bloodrend when you fight him in-game, was unable to provide a direct solution to restore Daedra's soul. The person who directed Fortinbras to Verelda can be deduced as, well, Chaser, who is also the person lost in the city that Fortinbras talks about. Fortinbras believed that Chaser died, or, is trapped in New Kirsa. Obviously, we know that he didn't reach that and is stuck at floor 1 of layer 2. Daedra talks to Fortinbras, but it's pretty clear that he's going insane by this point. He's stealing supplies from the Citadel and talking about how nothing remains. He suddenly resolves to abandon saving his wife's soul, abruptly becoming aware that her soul may not have been stored within the Cold Forge in the first place. "You want a weapon, Daedra," he says. "You're not coming back." This is confirmation that Daedra has been deceased from the beginning of this text, in my opinion. Fortinbras eventually leaves the forge, and I imagine he is subjected to unimaginable horrors in the depths. He opts to eventually return, but by then he has lost his mind. Fortinbras, lost all sanity, poses the question we have all asked ourselves upon hearing this story. Was Daedra ever in the forge in the first place? So that's how I interpret the story in a nutshell. I think it's meant to be ambiguous whether or not Daedra is actually alive and stored in the forge, but I also think it doesn't really matter. Regardless of whether she's alive or not, Fortinbras still goes out of his way to try and revive her, and gripped by loss he eventually goes insane and succumbs to the depths. As for why Fortinbras reacts to the dormant splinter in manic fashion, it's simple. The description of the weapon states that it's constructed from umbrite, and that the blade is searching for a worthy match. If the mention of umbrite is ringing bells, it's because Fortinbras mentions it as a potential material that could be used to house Daedra. It's sad, in a way. Fortinbras immediately recognizes that the splinter is the weapon he's been looking for, but it's fallen into the hands of you, the player. Fortinbras has no understanding of your power, or that the only weapon that could bring his wife back to life has fallen into the worst possible hands. You slay Fortinbras and take his weapon as your own, unaware that his life's work, and perhaps the soul of his lover, lays beneath your feet, collecting dust until the end of time itself. If you're hearing this, you've watched the video until the very end. Thank you. I hope the conclusions I drew were satisfying, and I hope you agree. If you don't, that's fine too. Let me know what you think of the Cold Forge. I hope this video reaches you well. It's the longest I've made thus far, and it's taken a lot of effort to create. Thankfully, I love it. I love creating these videos. They're my passion. Thank you for all the support. Be well, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.